I didn't want her to ever think that marrying well was the option.
Yeah.
If you want something, go and get it yourself.
Hi, Em.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining me in this project, and it's so nice to have one of our own from
Thank you.
Bateman Collins.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, we're going to do a little bit of a chat first before we get into the questions. So just tell us who you are and what's your job and what you do in the Bateman Collins group.
My name's Emma Ames. I'm the People and Talent Director. I'm responsible for all resourcing across Map Room and Bateman Collins. We do contingent recruitment. We do retained executive search. We find resources for projects. So more consultants. So the pace of everything we do is different depending on the type of recruitment that we're doing. So it makes it really, really interesting. One day you can be looking at an executive search for, a really senior person in a bank to, trying to find, short-term resource for analyst role. So yeah, it's very varied, and I really enjoy it.
Different every day, which we love.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. So before you joined us at the Bateman Collins group, you were at Atos before.
I was.
And just tell us a bit more about your career and how has it unfolded?
Yeah, so I would say that everything has happened by accident, really. So there's not really been a grand plan. I worked for a public services organisation, and we needed a new IT system, and Atos was selected to deliver that IT system, and I ended up getting involved in the project from the customer side. Realised I really liked it, and then joined Atos to go and do the same thing in their business. So that was a complete fluke, right place, right time, had the opportunity to get involved and kind of went for it. I spent a lot of my time at Atos in IT service management. So, Atos are a massive IT outsource provider, and, they've got lots and lots of customers, and worked my way up really in sort of incident management, which is ultimately fixing IT issues. And the more senior you get, the bigger the issue that you're managing. So thoroughly enjoyed that, but it's a way of life. It's a 24/7 job. I'd had my third child. I knew that I wanted to spend more time with him than I had with the others while they were growing up, and decided to just take a completely different career change. A boss that I'd had moved into a different part of the organisation. She needed somebody to come and help with their recruitment effort, and just sort of oversee it. And I think that was the leap from me moving out of sort of IT service management into more people related services. Brilliant. If that makes sense. Yeah. So head of talent at Atos for a really, really massive customer. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been involved in that for the last 7 years, and came over to the Bateman Collins group last September and not really looked back, to be honest.
Brilliant. And how nice is that to change your actual what you were doing in IT to something completely different. I mean, was that a learning curve in itself, huge?
There was really serious conversations about it at home, to be honest. You take a bit of a pay cut, you take a demotion almost, really, because you can't expect to maintain your seniority if you're not an expert in the new thing that you're going to go and do. Yeah. You're starting again. So there were conversations at home, between me and my husband around, are you sure that that's what you want to do? But I just felt like I'd given everything I could to what I was doing at the time, and really wanted to try something different. And it is terrifying. Yeah. But I'm so glad I did it. Yeah. So it is a bit of a leap of faith.
Brilliant.
But you know pretty quickly, I think, whether you've made the right decision or not.
Yeah, I think you do. I think you're right. So we just touched on it quick about you being a mum of 3.
Yes.
And how, like, I mean, I'll go into more of the questions in a sec, but I know that it's you've relocated recently for your husband's job, which is a massive decision. But yeah, how's all that going, and how are you feeling with that?
I mean, the kids are really separate, so you know, they're from an age perspective, you know, they're really spread out. Moving down south and only taking the two youngest ones with us has been challenging. But I would say that you know, we've moved to a beautiful part of the country. It's actually a place where I used to go on holiday as a kid, so I know the location, and I think, you know, that it's kind of another example of having an opportunity and taking it, really.
Yeah.
And you know, it's going great. The kids are loving it. You know, we don't see Chloe probably as much as we'd like to, but she comes for holidays now, so it's nice to be living in a holiday destination.
Yeah, definitely.
We made the right decision.
Brilliant. Love it. So just a bit about why I'm doing this. So I've met and been inspired by so many women leaders along my journey, and they've really helped me and played a massive part in kind of getting me to where I am today. So I think that was really, really important to why I wanted to do this project. But also, as you know, I've got a 14-year-old daughter, Poppy, and for me, I feel really strongly about showing the next generation that success is definitely achievable, diversity is essential, and we're kind of learning and growing along the way, and we need to support each other.
Absolutely.
So I feel like this is a message that I wanted to get across and speak to all these fantastic leaders such as yourself as well. So it's nice to hear your journey. So I'm going to ask you some questions now, Em. So just answer them how you wish. Everyone's given me such different answers, and it's really nice actually to find out the differences. So looking back, did your career unfold as planned, or has it evolved more organically to where you are today?
Oh, completely organically. Yeah, I would say if you'd have asked 16-year-old me what I would be doing when I was in my 40s, there's absolutely no way. There was no plan. I think I've been really lucky enough to have opportunities shared with me. You know, people have seen potential and gone, you can do that. And then but then I also think that it's been hard, a lot of hard work. So I would say the track I've jumped track several times, and the jump has been completely unplanned.
Yeah.
But when I've decided to do it, I've gone for it.
Yeah.
So no, it's been completely organic, I would say.
What was your vision when you left school then? What did you kind of leave school thinking, I'm going to be?
Oh, crikey, Vicki. If you'd have known me when I left school at 16, I think you'd probably laugh at me trying to even answer this question. I hadn't got a clue. I did not know. There was no I just hadn't. I tried to think about it. I spent a lot of time in my sort of the late period at high school, you know, and it was very much around, are you going to go to college? Are you not going to go to college? If you go to college, what are you going to do? I didn't really like school.
Yeah. So
embarking then on another 2-year journey to go and do A-levels didn't feel right. So I didn't know what I wanted. And I think
so young though, like 16 when you leave school, it's so young, isn't it, to make that decision, I think.
It very much is. And I think you do meet youngsters, right, that are very clued up. They know what they want to do, and that is amazing. But I think when you get some of those people around other individuals that don't know, that can be really daunting to people who don't know, because they think there's something wrong with them, right? There is nothing wrong with not knowing what you want to do, and just do the things that you enjoy.
Definitely. And I've obviously spoken to quite a few different ladies, and they've all said kind of the same.
Yeah.
They've not left school knowing that they wanted to go into banking or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The stepping stone where they've actually are now. They've all no one knows or not everyone knows, should I say, because like you say, some people have already set, they know what they're doing, they want to go uni for this and they're going to want a career in this. But, and it's not a bad thing that you don't know where you're going. And I think some people are so successful, such as yourself, and just kind of winging it into where you are.
It is winging it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with winging it.
Yeah. So which female leaders have inspired you, and how did their influence kind of shape your goals?
My auntie Jill was quite unusual for her time, really. So, you know, my dad's family, very, very much working class family. Girls did not go to university when my auntie Jill and my dad were at that age, and she was adamant she was going. And she went on to work for Unilever. She was a biochemist. She had an absolutely fantastic career. And I think, you know, sort of growing up, I think the best that maybe my parents might have helped for me was, you know, go and be a hairdresser or go and be a clerk in an office. And I think my Auntie Jill sort of completely liberated me. I can remember being bought a microscope for Christmas one year. And I think she just really wanted to open my eyes, really, to the fact that, you know, you can be liberated, Emma, and do whatever you want to do. So I distinctly remember conversations as being younger of what is Emma going to do when she's older. And I think that added the pressure, going back to what we were saying earlier around you don't know what you want to do. But I do feel like I've always sort of looked at my Auntie Jill and been incredibly sort of proud of her. And she sort of gave me something to look at that made me believe that it's possible.
It's achievable, yeah.
So yeah, and then I would say that there's definitely been female leaders that I've worked for directly. So, you know, I worked for Jeanette Wilcox for a long, long time. She's an amazing operations director. She's very recently retired, but she sort of managed me in a way where I had to get very, very organised working for her. I had to be on the ball all the time because a question would just come out of anywhere. And I massively respected the way that she sort of covered off everything that she had to do because her job was huge. And I would say that I did a lot of growing under her, but it was about actually being on your A game, and really getting to grips with what it is expected of you. So, and then I pretty much moved from Jeanette straight to Regan. So Regan Ridings was head of people. She just allowed me to grow into myself as a human being and be at work. So, you know, at work I think we spend quite a lot of time pretending we're something we're not. And actually coming to work and saying the things that you want to say, showing up and really speaking your mind, and being authentic, really. It was probably my age as well, you know, sort of you get into your late 30s and I think you're starting to really understand who you are. But that period working for Regan, you know, really formed, I think, probably who I am today. I think, you know, there was some real senior leaders. You know, Ursula Morgenstern, I think she was Chief Operating Officer for Atos in the UK when I sort of realised and she came on my radar. IT is full of men.
Yeah.
It's a very, very, very male-dominated environment. And I think to be senior in massive IT organisations and be a woman, you've got to have really, really thick skin and you've got to have something about you. And she was one on her own and ended up then becoming the CEO of the UK operation. And
Amazing.
I think every woman who worked in Atos knew who Ursula was.
Yeah.
And I think it was more because if she'd have been a man, nobody probably would have known her name.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
But because she was a woman and because she was she endorsed certain things that I think potentially men wouldn't have endorsed.
Yeah.
There was certain style, what she placed importance on was different. And I do think that's why, you know, sort of diversity at the top of a the top of an organisation is really, really important because
Yeah.
we all bring different things. And I do think that men and women do look at things differently.
Yeah, definitely.
So she was absolutely an inspirational leader. And then if you start going really big, you've got your Indra Nooyi's. So Indra Nooyi was, she was the CEO of PepsiCo. She's done lots and lots of talks around how on earth do you hold down that job, which is absolutely massive, and be in that sandwich generation where you've got your kids, you've got your husband, and then you've got parents that you need to look after, and you're trying to run, a huge global organisation. And I think it's listening to women like that and how they do it.
Well, you sent me that clip, didn't you, on LinkedIn?
I did.
And she was amazing.
She's phenomenal.
Yeah.
She's really good.
I think when you just know, don't you, when you look at these leaders and they bring, you want to learn more, you want to hear more. So when the clip stops, I was Googling, I want some more.
Yeah.
I want to know more about it.
And I think part of it is because she's so genuine.
Yeah.
She's realistic. It's, you're not getting a polished version and everything's wonderful and I'm Superwoman. She's actually talking about the things that she's found difficult and actually what her priority list is.
And we want to know that though as women,
absolutely.
because we know inside that we're not all perfect, and we need to know that it helps us with our problems if we know other people have faced them problems before.
Yes, and that you don't always have to be getting it right every day, right, to
Yeah.
be successful.
No.
Everybody has days where you don't feel like you're making any headway at all,
No.
either at home or at work.
Yeah.
And it's totally fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're all human. That's a saying that keeps coming up a lot, but we are all human. We need to remember that.
We are.
What drives you each day, and how do you stay motivated within your role?
Oh, that's a good question. What drives me? I think the customers, the services we provide, they are really, really important. There is a self-respect that the services that I provide are absolutely, outstanding. But then there's the brand, and what we're trying to achieve in terms of a business. So I think, exceeding expectations, delivering a service that you can be really, really proud of drives me. The team drive me.
Yeah.
Knowing that they are happy, they're enjoying it, that they want to come into work tomorrow, and we're having the opportunities to sort of do so many different things.
Yeah.
That drives me. The kids, the husband,
What
the family.
drive you mad?
Oh yeah, yeah. That too, 100%. That too. It wouldn't be normal, would it? If they didn't.
Absolutely, but no, they are definitely key drivers, aren't they?
Absolutely,
and family and friends.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Or everything that you hold dear is the reason, isn't it?
Definitely. And I think, just touching on our business, so obviously we work for the same business, the culture is everything in our business. We're like a big family, aren't we? And that's
we are.
How we do it, and we get repeat customers. I think our customers know that about us as well. They can pick up the phone and talk to us, and I think that's key, because to have that relationship, because we get a lot of recommendations, don't we, through our business?
We do.
And that is just, I think, because we're genuine people who want to help.
I think if you get close enough to Map Room and close enough to Bateman Collins, you can feel it.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think it's unavoidable. They see, customers can get to see how we interact with one another. How friendly we are with one another. There is a real sense of team, but I think we are all genuinely friends as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's unusual. But there is a real camaraderie, and you can't fake that.
No, I totally agree.
So I think that, and also I think they can see that we also have fun while we're doing what we do for them.
Definitely.
Which you're always going to do something better if that's the case.
Yeah.
So it's massively important, but it can't be. What's the word I'm looking for? It's got to be organic.
Yeah.
It can't be pretend.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely. Have you faced moments of self-doubt, or this word I use all the time, imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
And how did you regain your confidence if you had that?
Every day. I think there's probably a moment every day of, oh my God, can I do this? Or, and don't get me wrong, there's prolonged periods, right? I've been through prolonged periods where you've kind of gone, oh, this feels tough, and it's feeling tough for an extended period of time. And I think it requires an amount of reflection.
Yeah.
So you've got to check in. You got to check in with your mind. You got to check in with your body. Are you eating the right stuff? Are you getting enough exercise? Are you formalising your priority list? What can I do that's going to get me back on track for when I'm feeling like things are not going in a great direction? So yeah, imposter syndrome, absolutely. And I think but to varying different degrees.
Yeah.
You know, it's the nagging doubt to oh my gosh, I just don't know whether I can do this. I think in terms of how to get over it, there's everybody has the things in their life that bring them joy.
Definitely.
And and see whether it's sea swimming. Some people think I'm nuts. I will get in the sea every week, regardless of the time of the year, and just remind you how to breathe. You can't think about anything else. No. It's knowing what your thing is.
Yeah.
And being consistent with it, so that you can just have some natural drumbeat to some form of well-being, so that you are not overthinking.
Yeah.
You're not getting in your head too much, and asking for help.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Someone said to me as well, when things are going well, we don't kind of think too much, but write it down. So what are them strong points? How are you feeling at that time? So you're motivated. Really, what people have said. So if someone said something good to you on that day, write it down. Yeah. And when you have these moments of self-doubt, reflect on it, because that is key, because we kind of forget all the good stuff when we're in these moments, don't we, of what we are and what we do well at.
We
do.
I think
that's important.
And it's a really good tip, actually. You get lost in the positivity and the celebration of it.
Yep.
And you remember how it feels, and that feeling can actually become very, very addictive.
Yep.
And then you get used to it. And then when you have a low, wow, it stings that little bit more. So yeah, it's a really good tip, writing it down. But I'm a talker.
Yeah.
You know me, Vic. I don't ever shut up. So if there's a problem, 9 times out of 10, a lot of people will know about it. And I love it. And it's you go to certain people for certain things, don't you?
100%.
You know who your confidants and your allies are, and who you can have conversations with, who will understand what your problem is, and give you some sound advice.
Absolutely. And that's just going back to us as a company, we have got many people like that, haven't we? So we can kind of reflect and go to different people. I mean, I know we've had conversations, and we're both talkers, so it's been a 5-minute to an hour conversation.
Easy.
We help each other out, and I think that's the end goal. If we leave or like put down the phone feeling like better in ourselves, jobs are good. And brilliant.
100%.
So have you always felt supported by those around you, such as your family, friends and colleagues? I'm really lucky in the sense that I've got a massively supportive husband who, he's a great co-pilot. I'd like to think that he'd say the same thing about me. So I've always felt supported by him, but I have got a proper sisterhood around me. I've met all of my friends at work. My best friend I've met at work. Have you?
Yeah. So it's. Oh my God, I'm going to start getting upset.
This is fine. You're allowed to get upset. You are. This is true emotion. I love it. Oh. I love this. That's because you feel so strongly about it.
I know.
It's fine. Take a moment.
It's warm in here as well, isn't it?
Take a moment. Now, I know you love me, but there's no need to get emotional about me.
It's amazing how one question can just totally set you off.
But I think that's because you, obviously, the feelings you've got for your friends, and obviously you've gone through so many emotions with them, you feel very strongly about it.
Well, they see all of you, right?
Yeah, they do.
They see every single side, the good, the bad, and they're still there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I'll just tell you a bit of mine.
While I'm gathering myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've got, you say you've met all your friends from work.
Yeah.
I've got 2 best friends that I actually went primary school with. We've been friends since we were 5.
Wow.
With some of us are 42, some of us are nearly 42. But that is a long time, isn't it, to have friends? And you don't get many of them. And they literally know my whole life. I could just phone them and they know by talking to me what mood I'm in, if I'm happy, if I'm sad or whatever. And they can talk to me about anything.
Thank you, Callum.
Posh tissue there.
No, yeah. I've got a set of friends that I went to high school with. We're all still in a Facebook chat. You know, it's pinging probably most days. You know, and we might not see each other for years.
Yeah.
But nothing. It's you.
You pick up where you left off.
Exactly where you left off.
Yeah.
And they do know you when you've had friends. I think that go all the way back into your childhood. Those people really, really know
they
you.
do.
They know your family.
Yeah.
You know, they've probably been considered extended children while you've been growing up in your household. You know, it's really, really deep rooted friendship, and I think it is really important to have that.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel really lucky that I've got friends that have come from different periods of my life, but are consistently always there.
Yeah.
It's you're never on your own,
and
when you've got that.
I bet they feel the same way about you, you know, because how long have we known each other now? Probably about 4 months.
5 months.
5 months.
5 months I've been here, yeah.
And I feel like I've always known you, that is good. That is a true friendship, isn't it? When you feel like you've known each other and you can trust each other. So I just think you as a person, people will be getting emotional about you because how much you support them. So
She's going to set me off.
Sorry.
Again.
I'll start being mean to you now.
Say something nasty.
Right. I know this is it. Okay. So as a mother, wife and leader, how do you balance your personal life and professional demands? Now, I know you have a good personal life as well.
I do. I do. By spending an awful lot of time very knackered.
I feel like you just live life to the max. So, obviously, work mode, you give your all into work, but the weekends, you don't really rest so much. I mean, it's hard, isn't it, when you've got rest. Children and family, but
there's always something. So, me and Mark and I, we're sociable creatures. You know, we moved to Poole 2 years ago in July, and you know our friendship group's expanding. You know, we're absolutely meeting our people, and so there's always something going on. The kids, the sporting activities that these children do. I mean, that I feel really, you know, grateful that we can give those experiences. But crikey O'Reilly, it is a commitment. You know, they ski at 8:30 every Saturday morning. There's rugby every Sunday. Yeah. There's swimming. There's windsurfing. There's all this stuff going on. And somewhere in the middle, you've got to do a job, you know, do your life admin and also remember to have a life yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
So we probably have either very, very chilled out weekends where we do nothing, or it's full on.
Yeah.
And I think then we get to a point where there's nothing left in the tank.
Yeah.
And we know we just need to stop. You've just got to be really organised.
Yeah, you do.
And some days I'm not.
And we talked about this yesterday, and I think like the kids, like when you're full time, it's fine for the kids to like see you working hard and working at night, and it's putting like the place like a good work ethic to them when they're older. Like, this is what you have to do to achieve nice holidays or go skiing lessons, etc. So it's okay to be busy, isn't it? And I think as long as we tell our children and our families what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, I was on my own with Chloe for a while. I mean, Chloe's formidable. I'm so proud of her. We're so proud of her. But she was, I was acutely aware that when I had her at 19, I didn't want her to ever think that marrying well was the option.
Yeah.
If you want something, go and get it yourself.
Yeah.
And having, didn't go to college, didn't go to university. How do I create an environment where she has got something to look up to?
Yeah.
And so if I can do it, you can do it.
100%.
And I look at her now. She's 25 now. She has done that, and she's done that through grit, determination herself. But I'd like to think it's because of the example she was set.
100%, and it really will be. I mean, you won't probably realise what impact you will have had on her life.
I hope so.
And I mean, she's doing amazing now, isn't she? So
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
amazing. So, how do you manage stress and avoid burnout whilst maintaining resilience in your career?
I would say I've not always been that great at it. I feel like as I've got older, I know what it feels like before it gets really bad. I wouldn't say that I've ever had a situation where, I've been completely burnt out. I needed to take time off, but I'd say I haven't been far away from it.
Yeah.
And it really is a bit of a reality check that's required. You do have to step off occasionally.
Yeah, definitely.
You've got to be honest with yourself. I think women generally find it very difficult to turn around and go, I'm done. I can't do that. I can't carry on at this pace, in this environment, with all of this stuff going on. Because if you do say that, you've failed.
Yeah.
You failed your kids, you failed your husband, you failed your boss, you failed your colleagues. And actually, sometimes it is just a bit about mindset and overthinking, because I overthink things that haven't even happened yet.
Yeah. I think that's many of us that do.
That. So it's almost, there's a level of clarity and missing, and so I know that I'm acutely aware now if I'm starting to feel like I'm tired, I'm not really fully operating on all 6 cylinders. This feels tough, and I'm not. I just don't think you make good decisions either when you're in that situation.
And I think it takes a strong person to actually say, right, no, I need a break now.
I need a moment.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think you're very right. We just kind of carry on us women, and we don't like to admit when we need a break. So the flip side is that you are actually a strong woman to do that and say.
Yeah, I think so. But I think you've got to be honest with yourself, and then you've got to be honest with the people around you who can give you that space, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's your husband, your wife, your boss, your colleagues, actually being honest inwardly and then being honest outwardly is where I need to go with it and what I do. But I do think then it is going back to the what sitting in the living room at home watching a box set isn't going to fix it.
No.
It's actually boosting your endorphins, making yourself feel good. How are you going to actually right the ship?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Get some more spin classes with me in the morning.
On
our Pelotons.
I know. She's a beast. She's literally like, yeah, up at 6 o'clock. Can we doing it?
Well, you committed to me, and then I think you've done it once.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm not a morning person. Wow. I love getting up early in the morning. I love how it feels after I've got up, but getting out of bed is a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do some night classes then.
We could do night classes. Yeah. That's a nice compromise. Yeah.
What are the most important lessons that you've learned throughout your career, would you say?
Oh, God. Trust your gut. trust your gut and find your people. If it feels wrong, it probably is.
Yeah.
And I found myself in probably been frustrated where things aren't going quite the way that they should. And on paper, it looks like it should be everything you want it to be, but for some reason, it's not. And yeah, just those two things I think are they're what matter to me.
Yeah.
And because if your gut instinct's telling you that you're right where you're supposed to be, and you're surrounded by your tribe,
Yeah. I do.
and you know immediately whether you're in your tribe or not.
Definitely.
If you've got to think about it, you're not.
Yeah.
That's that they will be the things that I lean on most.
Yeah.
To know whether things are right or wrong, or going well or not going well, or am I where I want to be.
Yeah. Love that. Love it. Trust your gut.
Yeah. Totally.
How do you define success in both personal life and professional life?
Oh God, how big's the ironing pile? It's funny, isn't it? Because I think that question could be given a different answer every single day.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Because sometimes I think success is feeling like you've gone to bed, your kids are clean, they're loved, they're fed, the house is tidy, you've done your job at work, and then other days, just making it through.
Yeah.
Is the success. So for me, it's certainly not about job titles. It's certainly not about money. It's not about any of those things that I think you start off in life and you think that that's what success is about. It's having rewarding friendships, a great family.
Yeah.
And happiness.
Definitely. Is there moments when you sit back and you kind of look and think, you know what, I've got a good life.
I'm all right,
I'm really happy.
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you want to freeze that moment to think, it's good. Yeah, totally agree.
She's trying to make me cry again.
Sorry. Be nice. So, what's next for you?
Oh my goodness. When I looked at these questions, that is the one I find the hardest to answer. Because I've never had a plan, Vicky.
Yeah.
And because I've never had a plan, that what next is incredibly difficult for me to answer it. I find it really difficult. I think...
I mean, you're still quite new into your role here, really, aren't you?
100%, yeah.
So, I mean, there's loads of changes and exciting stuff that's happening.
Yes.
And obviously, we're growing as a company. So that's kind of definitely a what's next. You're going skiing in a few weeks. That's next.
Yeah. We're going skiing again for half term. So that is, a new, not new hobby, but it's been reignited.
Yeah.
It wasn't that successful given the state of how I'm walking at the moment. Our trip at Christmas, but I think from a work perspective, it's exciting.
Yeah.
The team is about to grow. We're getting new customers all the time. There's different types of work that are coming in, and it's formulating that sort of strategy that's going to pull it all together. At home, fingers crossed we end up buying a house down in Poole this year. So that is another massive life event that you've got to somehow fit around everything else that's going on in your life.
Absolutely.
They're the big things that are on the list this year.
Love it.
For sure.
Brilliant. Exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so if Poppy, you've met my Poppy.
She's lovely.
If she was sitting here next to you and she's just about to choose options and face her high school exams, what bit of advice would you give to her?
Do your best, but if it isn't everything you hoped it'd be, it's not the end of the world. You probably won't be surprised, Vicky, to know that I was a bit of a rebel at high school. Not
surprised at all.
Don't think I I don't think I reached my full potential. Put it that way.
But you're doing all right now.
I think that's the point.
Yeah.
It's one way of measuring an individual.
Yeah.
I
won't tell Poppy that though.
Well, tell her after.
Yeah, tell her after.
Tell her after. I think.
Don't worry about your exams. Just.
Don't get me wrong. Options, right? That you could. I remember choosing those and thinking it was the biggest decision I'd ever made. Like it was gonna completely transform the path of my life.
Yeah.
And choosing between geography and history.
I know.
And you look back now and you go, how ridiculous.
I know.
Was that? And now, don't get me wrong. I'm quite sure there's some university qualifications that you can't go and do if you've not got one of those things as a GCSE. I think choosing your friends is way more important.
Yeah.
It's somebody, I can't remember who quoted it, but it's like, show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with people who you want to be like.
Yeah.
Because that will actually make far much more of a difference to your life.
Yeah.
Than which options you pick.
I totally
and how well
agree.
you're doing your GCSEs. So don't worry about it, Poppy. Is what I would say, but pick good mates.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. Well, thank you so much. It's been lovely chatting to you.
It's been emotional.
It's been emotional for you.
It always seems to be emotional for me.
But brilliant. But
thank you very much.
I really enjoyed that.
Me too.